Hello and welcome to the Full Force Weekly, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury Editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. In this episode, I bring you all the news from the past week in the world of G.I. Joe. So what is it, me? It's the Full Force Weekly. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday, December the 13th, closing in on Christmas. And my God, this year has rocketed past, hasn't it? My goodness. I hope everyone's doing well in the chat. Got a few of you in here already. Figure Six Pack, Blitz, Chris G, Joe Barrett. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good weekend. Like I said, this Saturday the 13th. Right then, yeah, less than 2 weeks. That's upsetting me already. Anyway, I was going to say the usual thing is me to say lots to get into today. It hasn't been a great amount of G.I. Joe related news, but like there's been a decent amount of comics that have come out this week. So we'll be talking about the comic stuff. And if you'll indulge me, after talking a few other little bits and pieces throughout the week, I was kind of hoping we'd talk a little bit about the latest Street Fighter trailer and all of that stuff, because I thought that is that's kind of in the connective tissue universe to G.I. Joe. So we'll be talking a little bit about that as well today. We'll be summarizing all of the kind of listings information that we're aware of at the moment, just to kind of recap, and then that will pretty much be that. So it's probably not going to be a bumper show, but it'll still be your usual me just talking for ages and you guys saying stuff in the comments, full force episode. Before we move on, I do want to massively shout out the wonderful Squishy, that's full name, for sending me this wallet, the G.I. Joe wallet that's been showing up at Ross or Ollie's, I can't remember which one, but one of those two, and it's amazing. I do know though for a fact it's probably going to last like about a couple of weeks. I just know this is going to rub off, like using it in my pocket constantly. But Kitty said, but it's amazing. I love it. I love that artwork on it as well. Now, if you are struggling to find these at Ross, because it says on the thing, you can actually get them at buckledown.com. So that's BUCKLE dash, as in like hyphen, just the kind of like vertical halfway up the letter going left to right job, down, DOWN, buckledown.com. They have not just this one, but many others, which is really interesting. I did not know that was an official sort of thing. And they come in these really cool, look, this metal tin. It's really nice. And considering how much it cost at Ross, it wasn't very expensive. I think like $10. They're more expensive on that Buckle Down website for sure, but you get lots of different who's Buck All Down. I like that one, T-Blade. That's a good one. So there are other options on there too, like kind of sort of like the classified box art wallets, and then there's a kind of Cobra one with the Yakuza Storm Shadow from the website. I should have put this on in the news, really, shouldn't I? But I did not do that. But yeah, anyway, so go check out buckle-down.com, and you should 100%, or just write Buckle Down in Google and you should find that website. And yes, like I said, lots of G.I. Joe wallets on there, including there's another one, the what's it called? I don't think it's Live the Adventure, but it's the one where you've got the G.I. Joe logo and they're all like in a line on like next to each other in front of that mountain, sort of giving it that. For us, that was on one of the kind of like 87, 88 product leaflets, but I don't know which one it was for you guys. Probably would have been earlier than that, because it had like all your, I don't know, like 85 characters on it maybe. Anyway, go check it out, it's fun. So not only did the wonderful Squishy send me that as a present as well, I did offer to pay for this, by the way, but massive shout out. But he heard me talk about the starting lineup basketball net, and he got me one of those as well. So massive thank you to Squishy. If you're in the chat at any point today, feel free to pipe up, but thank you so much. I really appreciate this. This is obviously now set up waiting for Big Lob to come, Kitty said. Yeah, it's amazing. I never got one of these. And again, at Ollie's, this one was at Ollie's, $3.99 when that was out at Ollie's. My goodness. I definitely want to get another. I want to make a whole basketball court display. In any case, massive thank you to Squishy for that. I usually do these in the shout outs, but I thought I'd do it on full screen so you guys could see everything clearly. And yeah, should we get on with the let's get on with the comics news. We've got loads to get into, which we haven't, but I'm gonna make it loads. You watch. Make it loads, Kitty said. Hello, Destro Designs. Hello, Chucky Tinderbin. Hello, Life. Hello, everyone in the chat. Michael Taylor says, Chris, if I was still a young kid, I would use that tin to store all the extra weapons I was not using for my Joes. What do you think I'm going to be using it for? This has got classified blast effect storage container written all over it. It doesn't. That is a lie. It's got G.I. Joe written all over it. Anyway, yes, that's definitely a good shout. $4 is wild, Blitz. It really is. Okay, so let's get into comics news this week. So we had a Real American Hero 323 drop, which is an absolute banger of an issue. Transformers 27, which is a slow burn, but it's got some very interesting moments in it, I will say. And we also had a cover reveal for G.I. Joe 17, which we'll look at momentarily. But yeah, the stuff that was in Transformers for the Energon Universe stuff. I know, like, not everyone is an Energon Universe fan here, but just heads up, spoilers ahead. But yeah, the Energon Universe I've been really enjoying. I say it every single friggin' week, but it's true. And this particular issue for the Transformers, again, like, you don't necessarily think it's going to have that much Joe related stuff going on. It does. It has obviously a very major role. Kitty said, whose major role? I don't mean Kitty said, I meant to do that because of major role. I'm just so used to saying Kitty said after everything, like everything is a innuendo. In any case, Transformers 27 has got a really good amount of General Flag in it, and he is General Flag in it, as well as Miles Mayhem. And there's a really cool little thing with them, which we'll get to in just a second. But first, this beauty came up in the week. This is cover B of G.I. Joe 17. It's by Lee Bermejo, and it is obviously Destro, with some really subtle extra going on. So obviously the reflection in his mask, I think that's Cover Girl. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Could be, it might not be, but it kind of looks, it could be maybe Scarlet in some sort of other gear, but I think it's Cover Girl. I could be wrong though. What do you guys think? Anyway, it's really cool. It's a beautiful, like how he's done the reflection on the mask is just glorious. I love how he's got almost like knight armor, sort of the way they do like the old knights, medieval kind of style on like the gloves. Then it's so awesome. It's a really beautiful cover, and of course all that kind of fire in the background as well is dope. I love a bit of explosion background. I think if you're in the G.I. Joe, you know, if you've been a fan of G.I. Joe for many years, like we all have, you're probably a fan of explosion backgrounds. I would be surprised if you're not. Hello, a toy kind of mood. It is an insane cover. It is. Michael Taylor says it's similar to the Cobra Commander cover from issue 1. I'd have to actually see who that was. It's Lee Bermejo has done covers in the past for Joe, so he may have done that one as well. Michael, you're guessing same artist. We'll have to have a look at that one. Also, if Mark Seddon from the Talking Joe is on, he would probably know, or he would be able to find out, or maybe you guys know in the comments. Yeah, let me know if you do. Michael says you need to have me on live with Travis in a toy kind of mood. Live always, just forever. That's fair enough. I'm sure Travis does not want me bumbling my way through his episodes all the time, but that was a real fun one. If you haven't checked it out, I will be doing the shout out at the end, but if you haven't checked it out, go check out mine and Travis's sort of most anticipated of 2026. It was a fun episode, had a lot of fun doing that one, and yeah, that is available to watch on the Toy Kind of Mood YouTube channel. Now, anyway, Lee Bermejo, the actual story for this issue 17 says G.I. Joe versus Cobra versus the Dreadnoks. Three-way, Kitty said. The shocking fallout of the Duke and Cobra Commander alliance could end in death, all caps, plus, all caps, a large page twist that will change G.I. Joe forever, all caps, in the Energon universe. Okay, cool. So anyway, I wanted to highlight this one because it's a stunning cover. Lee Bermejo has done beautiful work. And yeah, it could be the same artist that did that other issue, that other variant from issue 1, Michael. Anyway, that's that. Now, like I said, Transformers came out this week as well and has some really, really cool moments. Specifically, I'm gonna kind of focus on the General Flag moments. Now, he keeps popping up and having interactions with different people and different, like, characters, Transformers, Miles Mayhem. He just has these kind of different interactions, and you start to get an idea about the person, the kind of guy that General Flag is. Now, is he playing like a little game here? Most probably. That's what it feels like. It feels like he is kind of, like manipulating his way around everybody. Like he's kind of like telling people the things they need to know over here, telling people the things they need to over here, and like not really, being fully transparent necessarily. You feel like there's something else going on there. But he does show just how hardcore he is in this particular issue when Miles Mayhem kicks off about like basically assumptions about him reverse engineering Cybertronian technology. So General Flag is basically questioning him about, have you finished your project yet? Where are we with that? And Miles Mayhem kind of kicks off in like a classic villainous way, sort of getting upset at the fact that he thinks all he's good for is reverse engineering, when in actual fact he's just using their technology to kind of compare to what his technology is like. And he feels like he's superior in every way. He feels like he hasn't really, like the Transformers Cybertronian technology hasn't really been that helpful in that kind of way. And they get into this sort of like, I don't know, argument, little back and forth. Miles Mayhem ends up kind of losing it and takes a swing at General Flag, who dodges it, kind of like kicks him in the stomach basically, and then pokes him, holds him up by like his neck with a couple of fingers, basically 3 fingers, and effectively is like kind of martial arts style, like keeping him in like this position where he can't move, like a paralyzed sort of situation. And basically says like, I'm not, I didn't get to this position and not be carved, like made from steel sort of thing. Like it's really interesting to see this character in this series and where they're going with it. It's really dope. Bryce says, do you think Skybound Image will launch a Mask comic? I think they will. I think they will. It's too good an opportunity. Like I feel like it was a little bit wasted with the opportunity was there for IDW, although I think a lot of that was down to Hasbro wanting them to incorporate like everything into their storyline. But they didn't really, like, the Mask comic started really well, I thought, and then just like about midway through its run, because it was only a short run anyway, it was like a mini series to be kind of like, I think I don't even know how many issues it was off the top of my head, but as it got to the end, you could really see it, falling off on the art style. The storyline just went to absolute crap, but it did a kind of across the board with the Revolution sort of combined universe. Really so exciting when it first kicked off, and I was into it. I was invested. They lost me when the reveal was ruined so they had like the ongoing issue, and then they had like a couple of other kind of spin-off sort of, well, they had multiple different issues running at the same time, and they would cross each other every now and again. And again, it wasn't over a long period. It wasn't like a massive amount of issues, but there was this one pivotal moment, spoiler alert if you haven't read it, where Baron Ironblood, Baron Bloody Ironblood, is revealed to be Joe Colton. And that is like such a big, amazing, powerful, impactful moment. But they spoiled that reveal by like releasing the issue prior, one of the mini series sort of like issues prior that should have followed the main run, and it already had him unmasked. And I was reading it like, am I supposed to know this already? Like, is that just Baron Ironblood's face? And then they're calling him Joe, and you're just like, huh. So it was really kind of upsetting to me that they dropped the ball on what would have been a really impactful, fun reveal. And then obviously the next issue, the main issue, was like, again, weeks later, because the release schedule was really poor as well. IDW had a real difficult time keeping the release schedule on track. And and also distribution was a bit dodgy at that point as well. Like, the distribution of those comics going to the comic stores was so hit or miss depending on where you were. Shout out to oh my goodness, was it Diamond? No, not Diamond. Wow, I've completely forgotten the name of the well, anyway, our local at the time, I would go in there for for my pull list. It's been so long now, I can't remember anything. Distant Planet. Oh my god, Distant Planet Comics and Collectibles. Shout out to Distant Planet. So we would, go and get the pull list or whatever. And I was in there like expecting the G.I. Joe issue. Nothing. I was like, huh? So, okay, fair enough. No biggie. Waited like a couple of weeks, and it finally comes in, and it's the one that ruins the reveal, which again I still didn't quite really understand. And then when I got the next issue, which again was like a multiple weeks later, you kind of read it, and you're like, oh right, oh, okay, so what? Yeah, it was confusing. It was a little bit forced. Yeah, for sure, Talib. It was a little bit forced for sure. Full forced, you could say. The Visionaries on IDW wasn't good. Ron was great. I would say I enjoyed both of those miniseries. I thought Mask was good up until about it was like the first few issues I was really into, and then it went off a cliff. Visionaries I thought was really cool and interesting and a different vibe and what have you. But I was interested with it, and the Transformers sort of part made a lot of sense. And I don't know, I quite like that bit. And Rom, I thought, was phenomenal. I thought the Rom series was probably the highlight of everything, of the whole Revolution sort of run. I would have to agree with that. Kyle says, first time watching live. Been watching all of the videos you did when the classified line started. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Kyle, and thanks for jumping on alive. That's awesome. That's awesome. Right, yeah, so that's Transformers, and General Flag is just an absolute bad double hockey sticks in this one. He's absolutely superb. And there's a lot of kind of like it's a slow build. There's a lot of conversation this issue with 27. But like I said, there's some moments in there where you're kind of like, whoa, and then the big reveal at the end, I won't spoil it. It's a Transformers one anyway, so I'm not going to say anything. Is an introduction of a new character to the Energon universe, I believe. Right then, we also had this week I have been mostly reading G.I. Joe Real American Hero 323, which is another banger of an issue. I've been, again, shock horror, I've been really enjoying the comics. You weren't expecting me to say that, were you? But A Real American Hero has also been just like, I don't know, just so just really enjoyable. It's great to see all of the characters getting some shine, some that you don't always see that often. I'm looking at you, Lightfoot. He was in the last issue, and that was a really cool kind of like snow versus desert sort of juxtaposition. Two different missions, two very similar different missions in different locations. So really enjoyed that one. This one again, actually, this issue is very much a slow burn. There's a lot of sort of exposition. You've got Cobra Commander. It's all enemy faction related. There's no G.I. Joe good guys in this one. So you start off with Cobra Commander at Springfield. He's basically an elevator pitch to the remaining Cobra affiliate kind of characters, your Scrap Irons, your Fireflies, your Zamots, your Tomaxes, your your Major Bloods, your Overkills, even your Crystal Balls as well. Make sure your Crystal Balls get covered. So he's basically giving this speech to the remaining troops after all of the dust has settled in Springfield. and he's trying to basically tell them that he's got all of these kind of this arsenal of weapons and vehicles that Destro does not know about. So Destro's sort of got a stronghold of Springfield at the moment, if you weren't aware of that, with the Iron Grenadiers, and they're all kind of thinking of switching sides, obviously, as they always do. Can't believe you just did a Fast Show reference, said Red Wolf. Hey, I've done many on this show, Red Wolf. You're just not paying attention enough. Brilliant. I do that a lot as well. I'm not sure if that's been noticed. Anyway, more Fast Show references will happen today. I'm gonna, just for you, I'm gonna drop a few more before we move on. Okay, I'm thinking of them right now. Anyway, so yeah, Cobra Commander's trying to give him the elevator pitch of, join me and we'll be fine. We'll we've got we've got these hidden vehicles and we've got these troops and those troops and everything. We've actually got more than they're aware of, and we've got like a hidden there's a hidden like motor pool under an airstrip in Springfield. There's all this cool stuff. So you're starting to kind of see not the camera, but the background showing all of these different things that he's talking about, trying to get your Major Bloods, your Fireflies, your Scrap Irons, and so on back on his side. And that looks to be going well. Then, of course, we switch over to the Dreadnoks, I think in Broker Beach. Is it? No, Daytona Beach. And they've taken over this bar. Road Pig's outside with his big cinder block on a stick, basically kind of like stopping people from coming in, trying to keep it a private function. And he lets Zanzibar in. Zanzibar goes in, and then you've got the whole Dreadnought crew in there. Your Rippers, your Buzzers, your Zanzibars now, your Xandars, your Zaranas, your Thrashers in there, Monkey Wrench, your Rippers. They're all in there, basically. Torch. I think I said that one. And Zartan, of course. And they're having this meeting. They're basically... It's the same. This has happened before, I feel. Like Zartan is trying to tell the Dreadnoks, we're gonna have to. This is the plan going forward. We're gonna have all of like the factions stop kind of using us and stop messing with us, and they're all kind of like kicking off with Zartan, saying, why do you think you're going to be the leader and all that kind of stuff? And this has happened before, like 4 times, I want to say, in A Real American Hero, where they question Zartan's sort of his leadership or his like strength. And I feel like you're looking at Zartan, me, here in a G.I. Joe chat room with my reputation. Sorry, that's Red Wolf. Brilliant. Me here, the 3rd Duke of Winsbury. I get, like, how many times do the Dreadnoks need to be proven to? Like, how many times does Zartan need to prove himself to these guys, is what I'm getting at. Because this happens a lot. Anyway, these other guys come in, they've kind of like, they say to Road Pig, you're going to let us in. I don't care if it's a private function. And he's like, sure, in you go, knowing fully well that, the Noks are going to take him out. And it turns out that Zartan just turns into a clown when they all come in and kicks off and just beats them all up himself. And he kind of does his disguise thing and turns, because they said, oh, what are you, clowns or whatever. They kind of insinuate that they're clowns. So he turns into a clown and beats them all up. It's pretty rad. And then he transforms back and turns to the rest of the Dreadnoks to say, any questions? Of course, this happens, I feel like, oh, it's a jester. You're right, Jedi Ben, sorry. It is technically a jester, not a clown. Does he say jesters? Clown show. He calls it a sissy clown show, the guy. So he turns into a jester. You're absolutely right, though, Jedi Ben. He's very much a jester. But that's in like the clown family, isn't it? So, yeah. And again, we're in that position where the Dreadnoks are like, okay, yeah, we needed reminding again because we're so stupid. Zartan is nails and will take people out no matter what. And then we flip on over to the Iron Grenadiers and Destro in Scotland. And what I love about this is they've got these kids kicking the football in the street, just, in the kind of like the peasants area, just outside of the Castle Destro sort of situation. And they're kicking the ball out in the street, and they're kind of, pretending to be football players from Dundee. And who else is the other one? Dundee United. I think it's just Dundee United. But it's funny because they're saying like McGrath, and what's the other one? Oh yeah, the one kid is pretending to be a commentator, saying like, "McGrath is hot today, Ewan." So he's talking to Ewan, who would be his co-commentator, which I think is quite cute. But anyway, they're just name checking Kurachenko. I wonder if like I wonder if Larry did like a little bit of research in who plays for Dundee United, because that would be amazing. The other thing I want to say is that I think Larry may have seen the Alan Partridge World Cup clip from the day to day, which if you haven't seen it, oh my god, that's the funniest clip ever. Now, Alan Partridge, Steve Coogan is the actor. He plays this character who started life in like as a reporter on this day to day, which was a fake, jokey parody news kind of comedy show. Very dark humor, but really, really freaking hilarious, and like probably like was one of the shows that uh developed my humor as an adult. So it's all toilet jokes basically. No, but anyway, there's a clip where they talk about the USA World Cup, and Alan Partridge is commentating. Yes, Red Wolf. The only reason I say that is because they're playing soccer in the street, and then this one kid says, "Oi, hear that, Jamie? Sounds like traction engines." And I have lost everyone. It's totally fine. But in the commentary, the joke commentary, Alan Partridge says, "Look at that. He must have a foot like a traction engine." So I don't think it's an accident, is what I'm saying. And what's fun about this particular scene is that they're just watching this parade of vehicles and force and, Iron Grenadiers basically being walked through the streets. And they've got the demon tanks. You've got all of like the soldiers, the Iron Grenadiers, but in their kilts with like some mix in like some like other regular Iron Grenadier looking uniforms. You've got the Dominators; they kind of come around the corner as well. The Razorbacks, and it's really cool. And then obviously all of a ton of despoilers fly in with Destro, Baroness, and then a bunch of other different Iron Grenadiers. But it's so kind of cool and interesting that this is happening, and effectively they're arming up and they're going down to their airfield, and they're getting ready for like a major scale operation. You can see that. And then as they're talking about it, they're like, the kids are kind of like wanting to be in the Iron Grenadiers. They're really kind of wanting to like be soldiers, but for Destro's Iron Grenadiers, because they see this. It's almost like a technique that Destro is employing by showing that going through the parade through the streets and everything, to sort of like continue to recruit, I guess, for the Iron Grenadiers. And as they're talking about saying they can't wait to be old enough to join, there's an old man, like an old shepherd, who has clearly been in the Iron Grenadiers, like, in the past, or a soldier in the past at least, with a medal on him. He's looks a little worse for wear. He's a farmer. He's got cattle or sheep or whatever, and he's got like a metal kind of left arm with a little claw on it. So he's obviously talking about the fact that it's not all adventure and glory, lads. Sometimes there's a price to pay. So there's like a little bit of a commentary there by Larry in the sort of glorification, I guess, of war, and like people, like young kids, like I was, like besotted with it, like really interested in it. My dad was in the RAF as well, so I kind of had all these different like kind of military, exposures, I guess you'd say. So I think Larry kind of making a good point there on like, you're seeing it as from like a kid's point of view in like a parade, and it all looks really cool and interesting and fun. And then from the old man's perspective, it's like, yeah, I've been there. It's not that much fun sitting in a trench or whatever. But anyway, I'm here for any day-to-day or brass eye references. No worries, Tim Popkid, I'm here as well for it. I hope we see Kilt, Iron Grenadier, and Classified, says Tony Hooper. You know what? Yes. Why the hell not? That would be dope. They could do like a special set with that, couldn't they? Like you could have like one that plays the bagpipes, like a pipe player, and then the other one could be like a banner holder or something. And you can give them like a ton of like machine guns and stuff as well. But that could be like a 2-pack, and that would be so cool. It'd be so cool. Having a kilt in Classified would be phenomenal. and I'd forced them to make a McLeod one as well as a redeco. Anyway, then when we go from Destro and the Iron Grenadiers, and we go over to Revanche on Cobra Island, because they've effectively taken that over. A Piper, a Roddy Piper, indeed, Jason. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is just a Piper, Bad Wolf. Yes, absolutely. Anyway, so then we go over to Revanche because we're looking at all the bad guy factions in this particular issue, and it's really about primes, Alpha Prime 0. It's Alpha 001, and the kind of process that it goes to sort of like go from kind of like up being like the main hub for all of Revanche, and then sort of moving out, like, you know, kind of getting unhooked from all of this like gear with the other Revanche droids, and then walking out to the casino floor, but holographing itself as a you know, cheesy kind of like casino owner. And the reality is this thing, you know, you've probably seen Alpha 001 if you've been reading the comics. Really terrifying looking creature. And I must admit, like, it is something out of some nightmare fuel. It's kind of like a mixture of Alien, Terminator, and I don't know, something else gooey. But yeah, it's pretty terrifying, and really just talks about the fact that they're, you know, bringing all of these people in to turn them into, you know, Revanche droids, basically. A baloney slug. Yes, Jedi Ben, indeed. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and we finish on, Kitty said, on Revanche, an American Hero, for that issue. And next issue, I am really friggin' can't wait for, although that's pretty much all of them, but it's going to be the one in space, 324. So I'm really desperate to see how that one pans out. But yeah, coolsies. So is that all the comics? Oh no, there's a little bit more comics news to talk about. Let's talk about this beauty. So Marcello Marter did post this the other day in regards to his issue 1 G.I. Joe 1 reprint cover that he did, for where it's like the Cobra version of the classic Joe cover. As you can see, you've got kind of bats, you've got Cobra Commander in the tank, you've got Destro, you've got Baroness, etc., etc., etc. Now, it was going to be because it was Skybound, he was going to originally, this was the original inks, he was going to incorporate Chameleon into it, because Chameleon was obviously quite prominent in the Skybound universe at the time. That was the idea, and as you can see, there's Chameleon, there's a close-up of her in that original kind of ink and sketch. But then obviously Skybound and Hasbro wanted it to be, because it was for a Real American Hero, they wanted it to be Baroness instead. So he did that as well. He kind of changed that. We got the Baroness kind of like update to it, and we end up with this final piece. But anyway, Marcello's been sharing loads of cool stuff recently of his work on the Joe line, in both classified, on covers, all sorts of different stuff that he's been involved with. Vehicles, snake armor, Ore Striker. He's been, you know, heavily involved in the design process with those kind of things. So massive shout out to Marcello, and love this cover. But that is pretty much it for comics. So we're going to move on, and we're going to touch on, probably we're going to go into out of comics and into regular news now. And I can't believe I've got 34 minutes out of this so far, but here we go. On to Renegade Game Studios. Yes, more Heroescape love. So this kind of happens pretty much every weekly now, because Renegade will post a new kind of art piece, kind of with bio and links, so you can kind of check out all the information with regards to their Heroescape game and all of the different components, characters, what their powers are in relation to the game. And of course, this week was the turn of the Cobra Troopers. We've also got, I mean, there's so many. And again, you can go to the website, and you can actually see all of this as that they're sharing one at a time. But there's loads of different ones on there. Again, lots of new art to kind of enjoy. And then, of course, all the information you need. If you're a Heroescape fan and Heroescape gamer in general, you'll be able to get all the lowdown on how these particular characters play, and all that good stuff. So yeah, this is the Common Army expansion as well. So some of them are related to Rumble at the Rift. Some are related to the base game, I want to say, but that might be Rumble at the Rift. And then there are these expansion sets as well. This is the Common Army expansion. This contains Cobra Troopers and Cobra Flight Pod. The Cobra Flight Pod is not on here. Obviously, it's just the Troopers. But I wonder if I think there is artwork and a bit of bio about the Flight Pod as well. But they just didn't share it with this particular image. But there is there's one on their website to check out. So go do that. And like I said, if you know nothing about it, go check out the website if you want to learn about all of that good stuff. So yeah, that is all I really wanted to talk about in regards to Renegade Game Studios and the HeroScape game. That is it. No more to really get into. So I will get into the next news item, which obviously is, we're getting into Street Fighter already. Let's do it. Ready? Fight. Yes. So I will preface this by saying there is a lot of connective tissue here in more ways than one. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter, mainly Street Fighter 2, crossed over with G.I. Joe back in the day to bring us O-ring versions of Ryu, Ken, Blanka, Sagat, E Honda, Chun-Li, M. Bison, Balrog. Can't remember the other ones. I think that's most of them. And then of course the championship redecos of them as well. And then you've got the connective tissue of the movie line of figures with your Guiles, multiple Guiles, your Jean-Claude Van Damme Guiles, in O-ring form that were sort of Hasbro created, but not G.I. Joe crossover, if you know what I mean. So it was kind of like a different sort of vibe. But you know what I mean? There's a lot of connective tissue. And on top of that, we've got Andrew Koji returning, this time as Ryu. I've always said Ryu. I've always said Ryu my entire life. And then I heard it pronounced correctly. And now I feel like I should probably pronounce it correctly. But as a kid in the UK, I believe everybody that I knew anyway, 100% said Ryu, no matter what. Everyone I met in the UK anyway, which was like 7 people. That's a lot of people, guys. But yes, so now we've got a new movie, new trailer. Like I said, we've got Andrew Koji in one of the major roles. Let's go through these posters, which again, I'm not going to play the trailer, but you can go check that out if you haven't seen it already. Now it looks very much like they are sticking very close to the source material, which I think is one of those things that people always ask, always want. And then sometimes, like, you know, if that happens, which isn't actually very often, we don't always get movies sticking like 100% to source, but it does feel like they're doing that with this. Jason said, never heard any kid in the US pronounce Ryu either back in the day. Yeah, totally. I just think it's one of those things where it's probably the like the Japanese pronunciation maybe, but it's one of those things where, you know, you kind of say it because you don't hear it. Like you just see it, you read it and you think that's it, sort of thing. But yeah. And it's funny, I don't think they said their names on the game either, did they? Like, I remember it would just be like USA, Brazil, Spain, China. This is like how it sounded as well. And things like that. I don't remember them saying the names of the characters in the game, but it's been a while. I say it's been a while. I played it about 3 weeks ago. I've got a little emulator and I love playing Street Fighter on it. It's got all the different versions going up to like 5, Street Fighter 4 or 5, I think. But it's so much fun. I love that game, or that kind of like multi kind of game. And going through all of like the old ones as well, like Alpha and friggin' 3D and just all those like ones that just don't get that much love all the time. We all pronounced it just like you did, says Kevin. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so yeah, we've got Andrew Koji as Ryu or Ryu, however you want to say it. I just should say it as I've always said it, but I feel bad, so I'm just going to say Ryu, okay? And anyway, Andrew Koji, of course, played Storm Shadow in the Snake Eyes movie, which everyone is trying to never talk about ever again. But yeah, he, and I'm like, I do feel like with Andrew Koji, I was really excited with, like, because obviously Warrior, wow, Warrior was insane, um, and I loved that series, and I wish it would keep going on, even though it did end in a good place, but I kind of wish I just want more Andrew Koji and Warrior, to be fair, and yeah, and of course, like, so I kind of feel like this I hope this is retribution a little bit for him. I want, because he was really good in the Snake Eyes movie, like as Storm Shadow, he was like probably the one of the best parts of the film, I would say. So yeah, I really am excited for this movie, and I'm really happy that Andrew Koji got the Ryu casting for this one, and I think Noah Centineo is a real. I'm probably saying that wrong. I think he's a really good casting for Ken as well, and obviously flavor of the month with Masters of the Universe as well, which it's just around the corner as well. What, 6 months away? Are we 6 months away from Masters of the Universe? That's mental. But it looks like they're keeping close to the source material on that as well, to some degree. But yeah, I'm very, very buzzing. I'm buzzing. My berries are buzzing regarding these. But yeah, I'm loving it. Mad Thanos says Japanese names and words are pronounced as written; they are not English. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it, where I just don't know the pronunciation correctly, and I've said it wrong maybe for a long time, and it's hard to change it in my brain. But anyway, Ken, that's pretty much how you'd say it, I think. I love the fact he was Ken as well, like, as in Barbie and Ken. I think that's probably a riff off that. There's some other characters in here as well, which we'll talk about a little bit more in depth, because there's real interesting elements to them. Obviously, Ryu, were both of them in the first one, or was it just Ryu? Obviously you had like Joe, he was in there too, and you had like it was a much more simple game. I didn't play Street Fighter. I didn't even know about it until Street Fighter 2 came out, and then I was like, was there a Street Fighter 1? And I didn't even know about it until the second one came out. So didn't really appreciate it till the second one came out. What line is that? That's a rap. That's a rap line from something, and I can't remember what it's from. Anyway, it's irrelevant. Someone will know in the comments, I imagine. Warrior was amazing, Jason, wasn't it? Bad Wolf Media says the problem with the Snake Eyes movie were not with the acting. Yeah, true. That is diplomatic. Always was fascinated by the Beast Blaster, knowing that Chun-Li and Blanca had their own thunder machine, says Rudy. There's another great shout. The vehicles, yes. Yeah, Bad Wolf says the first game, Ryu and Ken were exactly the same moves, etc., just white versus red. Yes, great. Thank you, Kevin. So obviously, these characters, if you're doing a Street Fighter movie and you're looking at the heart and soul of your Street Fighter movies, and you have to have the Ryu and Ken sort of situation. So yeah, 100% love that they're involved. Now, Chun-Li and Guile, of course, yeah, big characters from Street Fighter 2, and we've got Kalina Liang and Cody Rhodes taking this on. Now, a lot of people have talked about the Cody Rhodes sort of look. I really like it. I think I'm so happy they're not pulling back on some of the ridiculous elements of Street Fighter. I love the fact they've gone and given him his ridiculous hair, and Kalina Liang looks great as well, like as Chun-Li. I think again, I'm excited to see these actors flex their muscles, you could say, in these roles. Cody Rhodes, he's a wrestler, but he's got that sort of like, I mean, it's like wrestling going into acting seems to be like the actual, like the only pathway for wrestlers, isn't it? It's just like you do wrestling and you go straight into film. Like it just happens. And I guess, in a way, there's a lot of acting going on. So it makes sense that they kind of have those kind of like transitions. Obviously, The Rock's been probably the most like probably the most successful of that ilk. And you got your John Cena's as well. Obviously, he's done massive sort of like, moves in that realm. But then there's a lot in this particular movie. And again, fighting, martial arts, it all makes sense. Arcade says, Cody Rhodes, this movie is going to suck. Cody Rhodes with that hair is just going to be absolutely distracting in its hilarity, says Bad Wolf Media. I'm here for it. I had this conversation with Adam Riches. Shout out to Adam. Big Street Fighter fan. And very excited that they're going in this very kind of classic design and style. And it's one of those things we've kind of talked about in the past of maybe Joe should kind of go in this direction, maybe almost like Sunbow for the movies sort of thing, like make it bonkers. I feel like Rise of Cobra was too corny, but was trying to be serious at the same time, and it didn't quite balance. And so like with Street Fighter, I feel like you kind of and they went, let's talk about it. Street Fighter, the Jean-Claude Van Damme version with Kylie Minogue. Oh my god. Have you seen or have you read there's a massive like blog kind of post about an article written about the making of the Street Fighter movie and all of the crazy shenanigans that went on. Oh my god, it is worth checking out. Just search Street Fighter movie, whatever the year was. I can't remember, like 90, whatever it was. But Street Fighter movie, like making of or whatever. And I swear there's one article out there that just kind of breaks down all of the little different like things that were going on during that whole, kind of filming and everything. Just how anyone got a movie made, I will never know. And again, you could argue that maybe they didn't really get a movie out of it. I have, for the longest time, said that the Street Fighter movie is the best G.I. Joe live action movie ever. And it still kind of is at the moment. So no matter how goofy it is, I think obviously that didn't take itself seriously at all. That is just that's the goofiest movie you're ever going to see. Now it looks as though this is kind of going to be goofy, but I feel like if they get the balance right, I think this could be absolutely superb. And I'm here for these, crazy looking people. Orville Peck. I'd never heard of Orville Peck until he got cast as Vega, and then found out he's a South African originally, I believe, country artist, which is insane. I never knew that. Never ever knew that. So yeah, so that's kind of cool. And he wears a mask too, which is like well on theme for him. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going on with that. And again, like crazy flamboyant, just like Vega, or like Vega as we know him in the Western Hemisphere. I believe so. It was what M. Bison was supposed to be Balrog. Balrog was Vega, and that's M. Bison on the right, technically, not Balrog. That's Balrog on the left, technically, not Vega. And M. Bison was Vega, right? I think that's how it was originally. So they just moved them around because obviously M. Bison and Mike Tyson was a little bit too close for comfort, I believe, on that one. So they made in this side of the pond anyway. So they decided to change it to Balrog. So anyway, yeah, you've got 50 Cent as well as Balrog, and they have not held back on that hairline, have they? Phenomenal. Everyone's like, I would like, yeah, okay, so you're looking at this one of two ways. Either you're looking at this going, this has got to suck, or it's going to be freaking amazing and take everyone by surprise. I'm leaning towards, though, I think this is going to be friggin' amazing, but I will hold out the fact that yes, this could be an absolute bag of weasels. We'll have to see, really, but I'm going to be going into this very excited. So I don't really, I don't know how that's going to go. In any case, Vega and Balrog, obviously classic non-playable characters in that first Street Fighter 2. Final bosses, you'd say, Vega, Balrog. No Sagat in this one? I don't know if there is. He's not. I haven't seen that name used in any of the, the cast or anything like that on like IMDb or anything. So yeah, interesting. No Sagat. Maybe that's for like a future. There's plenty of characters to get into for future sequels. Let's face it. If this is successful. Anyway, yeah, 50 Cent as Balrog. Awesome. And I've got to say, that's bang on. That's bang on for Blanca, isn't it? That is bang on Blanca, Jason Momoa, and Vijay Jamival as well for Dalsim. Now, again, I will say I didn't know of Vijay until the Dalsim casting, and then I did a little like track to see like the kind of stuff. So he's a martial artist from India, which is amazing, and has done a ton of different kind of movies of that ilk. So I am quite excited to see how he like, because again, he looks the part, looks great in the trailer too, and they've just gone all out with the designs. Like it's just, yeah, you're just literally going to wear exactly what they wore in the game, I'm afraid. Vega should always be topless, said Mad Thanos. He might, well, I've seen Orville Peck topless, and I don't think it'll be a problem. You know, I don't think there'll be an issue there. I think they were just trying to mix it up a little bit with all the nakedness going on the posters, maybe. Anyway, I've got to say the Blanca looks next level. They've given him a beard. Blanca didn't have a beard before, but I think he has in newer versions. I'm like, all of my brain is going to Street Fighter 2 and like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Esquire the Third, you know, all those buttes where they keep like adding something to the end of it. God, it was so funny. They just never make a Street Fighter 3 at any, like, it took so long. It was just constant bloody Street Fighter 2 variations, but it was cool because you get these little updates and new characters and new power moves and everything. It was awesome. I remember every time the new one would kind of show up in a local amusement arcade, I was probably there for maybe 3 of those, like the first Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and then Super Street Fighter 2, whatever. I was there for those, I think, 3 as a kid. Love your saying bag of weasels, says Joe Barrett. That's awesome, Chris. I use weasels a lot, and I like weasels, but they're just a funny. It's a funny word to say. As much as I love little weasels, I think they're great. My favorite bit of trivia about the original movie is that they got the actual Adrian Cronor, whom Robin Williams portrayed in Good Morning Vietnam, to be the radio DJ. I actually didn't know that. That's a cool bit of info. Thank you very much for that, Bad Wolf Media. All I was thinking about was, I think it's already been mentioned, but the cocaine habit of some of the actors and the experience that Kylie Minogue had as well. Like, oh, anyway. Jason said, I honestly thought that was Kamal Nanjiani at first. He'd have been good for it, but again, I feel like this one has been cast well. I think there's definitely a really good look to Dalsim there. And I'll also say that Dalsim's had a beard in recent kind of iterations. So yeah, anyway, I was just talking like the Blanca's beard, but I love what Jason Momoa looks like here. That's dope. I'm excited to see Blanca, because I don't think you see much in the trailer of Blanca, do we? I don't think we see much of Blanca in there. Anyway, Archangel Michael Mars says, do not play the kids online in Street Fighter. They're good. I mean, really good. I do not play online. All of my gameplay is campaign related, you know, or versus the computer. I am not here for that sort of level of competition, because I get like, I either get really bad and competitive and then get angry about it, or I just don't enjoy it in any way because I'm getting my ass handed to me. Anyway, I'm glad they're both in it. I'm glad we've both got very classic looking characters as well, and I can't wait to see Yoga Flame, Yoga Fire, you know, super like long punches and like long kicks with his I hope we get all of that good stuff. I don't think they showed Blanca at all in the trailer, at least not clearly. Might be in a shadow or something. Yes, I don't think they showed him at all. But yeah, I'm excited to see if they do the electricity thing. I don't see why not. But he looks good. Like, he looks the part. And I'm definitely in for this one, 100%. Then we get Zangief, Oliver Richter's, who I don't know much about at all. But Zangief one of my favorite characters just by how he looks. I just thought he was amazing. Again, I imagine we'll see him topless. Don't you worry. In fact, I think we see him. Um, I think we see him shirtless, just in his pants, in the trailer at some point. I could be wrong on that one, but again, very, very much down the line, Zangief there with the chest hair and all that good stuff. Yeah, I think we actually see him do that classic spin, like the kind of one where he picks him upside down. Looks, it, initially looked to be the kind of crazy spinning pile driver, but it's the newer move where he just kind of like DDTs them or whatever it is. I don't know what the term is, but where he spins around and then just slams them flat on the ground. So I definitely, they're definitely doing some of the moves. Obviously, we saw the Sonic kick, didn't we? The Sonic boom kind of, not the Sonic boom kick, but we saw the kick from Guile in the thing. We see the we see the grab, roll, and throw from Ryu as well, don't we? Which is dope. And then the person he does that to gets kicked into the wall by, I think, Ken, which is amazing. Yes, Bad Wolf, and E Honda as well. Hiroku Goto as Gato or Gato. Yes, 100% looks like he stepped out of the game. Like, brilliant. It's phenomenal casting on this one as well. Yeah, again, brilliant. Love it. No notes. Zangief and Honda. Everyone looks the part, in my opinion. Everyone looks the part. Phenomenal. Checkpoint Alpha says, sorry I'm late, but is this a movie that's going to happen or is this AI? Trust me, this is real. Go check out the trailer. It's actually happening. But it does feel like there's been a lot of those really annoying AI videos where they're doing these kind of like behind the scenes on movies that never happened. And there was one for Masters of the Universe the other day that kind of came up on my feed, and I'm just like, come on. But like they did one, I think, for Street Fighter, and it's very similar kind of vibes, but this is the actual movie that's happening, believe it or not. Bad Wolf says they didn't give Lobo much time in the Supergirl teaser either. I think they don't want to sell it as a Momoa movie. That's a good point, actually, Bad Wolf Media. But also, yeah, I think they're trying to keep those as big moments as well, aren't they? Yeah, maybe they're holding back on Blanca because they knew Momoa would be in the heavy tease as Lobo in the Supergirl trailer, says Chris H. Yeah, I think he's being used a lot recently, isn't he? Definitely. PBJ says they should have used a muscly fat suit for E Honda. I don't know. I think this one's going to look, I think he looks good. I think he looks dope. I'm excited to see the 100 hand slap. I want to see spinning bird kick from Chun-Li. I want to, what are your favorite? Let me know, please, in the comments. What are your favorite special moves in the Street Fighter series, please and thank you. Let me know your favorite, just the one. If you got a couple, that's fine, but just let me know in the comments and I'll keep moving. Then we've got, obviously, this is an interesting one, but this has, to me, the David Dastmalchian, cannot pronounce that either. This kind of casting for M. Bison is more, I think, a sort of homage to Raul Julia than it is to M. Bison as a character. And not to take anything away from David Dastmalchian, I think he's a great actor, and I really enjoy him in lots of different things, to be honest. And I'm know for certain he's going to do a really good job here. But you see M. Bison in the game, and you just see this huge hulking dude. Like, he's always like they always made him like so massive that it was like you was terrified to fight him at the end. But like, when the previous movie came out with Raul Julia, he did such a great, like, he is again the shining star in that rather hilarious film. A rest in peace as well. And the fact that he was going through like cancer treatment, like, that he was effectively dying through that entire movie, and he did it for his kids as well, which was even like, makes you want to cry, honestly. But yeah, I kind of feel like this particular casting is more about like trying to get that sort of Raul Julia-esque performance, that Raul Julia-esque character kind of style, rather than getting your hulking M. Bison. Do you know what I mean? But in any case, that's my feelings on it. And again, I'm not genuinely not like, I'm not like looking at it going, oh, they've missed an opportunity there, because what, are you just going to get another wrestler, another huge like giant like guy to be M. Bison? I don't think so. I think I like this, where there's an element of strength isn't necessarily in just a huge giant dude. There could be other things around this, and the fact that M Bison in the game as well has that sort of like magical power. Maybe they're going to tap into some of that as well, but we'll see anyway. Either way, like I said, I'm not fussed about this particular casting that I've seen a lot of kind of comments on, but I think it's more of a kind of like riff on Raul Julia's character style than it is M Bison from the past games and what have you. Either way, I'm up for this one. David D was in Ant-Man and Spot in yes, he was in Suicide Squad. Yes, I really liked him in that actually. Among others, he's probably got the chops to fill Raul Julia's shoes. Yeah, I feel like I feel like he's going to do great, honestly. And then you've got Roman Reigns as Akuma, which is another interesting one. In terms of like what characters they're going with. They're going with a lot of like big major characters that have like very big backstory. I mean, they all kind of have backstories, but do you know what I mean? Like very important in the lore of Street Fighter as it develops. To get all of this into one movie, you have to feel that some are not going to get as much sort of like screen time as others. And I'm just saying, I'm just going out on a limb here, but I could see like where some of like maybe the wrestlers are being utilized. Maybe they won't have as big a part as you may think. And maybe they'll just be sort of like in and out to be that particular character or what have you for a certain fight or a certain scene. But we'll have to kind of see how it goes, won't we? Basically. But yeah, Roman Reigns is Akuma. There you go, lovely stuff. And again, I don't have an issue with that either. I think it's not a bad bit of casting. It's kind of cool, and you know, I think Roman Reigns can probably deal with that. He's always very, he's of a certain style within the wrestling kind of like I want to say arena, but that is too obvious. Like that's too obvious to a wrestling arena. But you know what I mean? In that kind of sphere, shall we say, he plays a certain character, and I don't think he'll be too far from that with Akuma. To be fair, yes, Dalmatian was in the Dark Knight as well. Yes, he was Mad Thanos. He was. There you go. So got these two. Then we get into some real. We got like parody. We've got like ring announcer sort of elements here. Comic relief, we'll say, won't we? So I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew Schultz, but again, like with this Dan Hibiki character, he's one of those ones of a certain generation. Dan, the Dan character from Street Fighter, that was, I think the way to put it is that they made him like overtly confident and minimized his martial arts style. Is that right in saying that? Sort of like made him a little weaker, but very overconfident. So the character isn't very like necessarily adept in everything that they do, but they're super overconfident about everything they do. So there's this kind of like weird juxtaposition about their character. So it's really interesting that he's going to be like, because he is a bit of a parody character. He started life as a parody of effectively of like, I want to say certain characters in other fighting games. I want to say, yeah, Dan is the guy Sakura and everybody else beats up in the game. Law says Archangel. Yeah, I thought that was the case. So there's this kind of like, yeah, there's this jokey element to this particular character. Do I think Andrew Schultz or Dan is going to be in this movie a lot? If it's comic relief, then you might see him more than you'd think. But I could also see this being like a fairly short kind of, I don't see it being like a massive role. But then again, he could be in the entire film, like all the way through, to provide that comic relief sort of thing. And then you got Don Savage, Eric Andre, who I love Eric Andre. I think he's hilarious and insane. But in his particular case, this character, I should say, there's a very interesting thing where it's like, Don Savage is actually is a character in Street Fighter, but prior to that, there's a character, I think, in the background of the Vegas background for M. Bison that looks very much like Don Savage, and they can't tell, like, he's obviously the inspiration for that particular character in going forward, but there's no like official confirmation of that, it seems, which is really interesting. So so Don Savage will again also probably be very much he's the announcer, and he's going to be comic relief, isn't he? Let's face it. So you're looking here at these two as your main comic relief, I would imagine, in the movie. But still interesting nonetheless. And like I said, the Dan character has got a very weird and interesting backstory and like introduction to the series, and Don Savage as well. Very, very cool, interesting, quirky choices there. And then we get a couple more female characters going on. We got Cammy, who obviously kind of joined. Oh, this is a good question. It was in Cammy came in on one of the Street Fighter 2 update kind of variant games, didn't she? So like I don't remember exactly which one though. Was it Turbo or was it Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo? I can't remember which one she showed up in, but it was one of the ones after Street Fighter 2, basically. So she was sort of like a new character that came, after World Warrior, kind of was introduced, and again played by Kylie Minogue in the original movie, and now being played by Mel Johnson. And again, very classic Cammy in her design and style. So again, I'm excited to see how she plays that character. And then we have another interesting one in Julie, who, if you're not completely up to everything, I want to say Street Fighter 3. Oh God, when was Julie introduced into? I'm gonna have to have a look. I can't recall. It's one of the third ones, I think, though. I looked up whole grain Dijon mustard earlier. full disclosure. Is that pretentious enough for you guys? Street Fighter Julie. I want to say it was in. Oh God, I should have just put first appearance in there. There we go. It was Alpha 3, not Street Fighter 3. It's Alpha 3. So Street Fighter Alpha 3, in '98, and she was brainwashed by M Bison. So thank you, Tim, for that. Appreciate it. Julie is from Alpha 3. Thank you, Mad Thanos. Thank you, Archangel. It was Alpha 3 that Julie's from, and she also has a partner called Junior, I want to say as well. But anyway, very, very like excited to see where they take that particular character as well. Especially if it's kind of like a brainwashing kind of like villain sort of scenario, a little bit like, what's the word? Shadow Liu Kami, says PVJ. Yeah, exactly. A little bit like what was I going to say? Storm Shadow is what I was going to say. It's a little bit Storm Shadow coded, isn't it? Like, in any case, again, really cool. And I'm liking the designs. They look fantastic, these two. And that's Raina Vaughn Dinger. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Apologies, Raina Vaughn, but there you go. Julie, awesome stuff. And then finally, we have Alexander Volkovsky as Joe. Now, Joe's one of the most, like, this is really funny. And I think this is where I think personally, when this character is not going to be in it for very long. I feel like Joe obviously is being used here. He was like Street Fighter, like character in Street Fighter. There was a lot of, I remember like for ages, I think people thought at the beginning of the Street Fighter 2 in the intro for World Warrior, where you've got those two guys fighting and that one guy punches the other dude. A lot of people thought they were like from the original game. And it turns out that based on, I think, concept art from the World Warrior, where those two characters are doing that like intro thing, I want to say Max and Scott are the names that they're given. And I think it's Max is the dark skin character, and I believe Scott is like the Joe character, basically, but it's not. So I've got a feeling this is really just a big homage to that first Joe in Street Fighter. But it was fun. It's interesting that I did for the longest time think that Joe was the blonde-haired guy that punches at the beginning of World Warrior. Apparently, that is not the case. So a little bit of research that went into that. Found out that it was Max and Scott from like some concept art. Anyway, I love Street Fighter. I have played it for donkey's years. I haven't obviously played it a lot recently because I don't have any time to play games in general anymore. But I I'm just, I don't know, I'm just excited that we've got a movie coming out. It's very much like the OG games. Oh, I'm excited. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be cool and fun and ridiculous. And I wanted to talk about it just being so G.I. Joe coded. And one thing I will mention here at this point is that, do you guys expect to see action figures from this movie? I personally do. Nod, nod, wink, wink. So, what kind of action figures would you like to see done from this film? And yeah, do you think we could be seeing? Do you think we could be seeing Street Fighter in? I don't. By the way, that nod, nod, wink, wink was a little bit more towards the general. There's probably going to be toys about Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter the movie, but in more of the case of like, would you like to see crossover here? Would you like to see Joe and Street Fighter crossover again? I bloody would, but I don't know anything about that particular aspect. I can't nod, nod, wink, wink about that. But yeah, the rumors are that we may be seeing action figures from this movie, which isn't the biggest news in the universe, is it? But let's face it, I'm excited to see what we're gonna kind of be getting in that realm. And at the moment, it's a little bit kind of whispers on the wind. So I would take it with a pinch of salt at this point. But who would you like to see from that list in action figure form, and what scale? That I should probably say as well, because we'll have to see how they kind of go for that. They're gonna also be if they're going to do sort of like action figures in this kind of day and age, you'd expect it to sort of be in the 6-inch kind of arena. But in any case, who do you want to see? I don't think anyone put their favorite special moves in the chat. Did you guys do that? I haven't seen any come through. What are your favorite special moves from Street Fighter? Or don't you have any? That's another good point. You might not have any. I love spinning bird kick, but only because Chun-Li, the way she says it when she does it is amazing. Spinning bird kick. Anyway, that is Street Fighter. Moving on, because like I kind of have to, I guess. We've got a little bit. Well, we'll do the usual classifier. I just mash random buttons, says RKW. That's hilarious. Tony says Sonic Boom. That was a good one. And fairly easy to get used to as well. That and Hadoken were like really, like when she got the hang of that, that was like easy, real quick. Ryu Ken helicopter kick, which was I can't even pronounce, like it goes on for ages, isn't it? But yeah, the spinning kick they do is crazy. Shiryu Ken is the flaming kind of like punch upwards, like the kind of like uppercut, isn't it? The flying uppercut, sort of spinning one. And Ken Shiryu Ken says Jeremy, yeah, for sure, that was a banger. Oh god, it's really long, the kick one though, isn't it? Someone will put it in the comments, I'm sure. So yeah, so leak listings 2025, we're done and dusted. It's finished. It's complete. It's going to be there until January 1st when we don't do that anymore. And 2026, no changes. Although I did unlock Deep 6 very recently, so if you've missed that at any point, then that has been unlocked. And we should have a little bit of an update, I would imagine, early next year when we have the first sort of like GI Joe event. So maybe we can get a few more of these unlocked, and we'll see how that goes. But effectively, that's all we have for classified this week. Not a great, massive lot of news. I still have these to open. Mainframe, wetsuit. I have opened this Grim Viper, so Grim Viper's been done. And then all of the retro figures of recent yore. So Green Shirt, Battle Android Trooper, Flint, Televiper, Cover Girl. I still have to open the Snake Armor. I know, what am I doing? What even am I doing with my life? All those 2-packs, like the Sergeant Mercer, haven't opened that yet. Slice and Dice, haven't opened that yet. I did open Steeler and Short Fuse, by the way. What a solid set that is. Love Short Fuse and all his gear. And Steeler's really nice, actually. Like, I was really satisfied with those two. and I've rearranged my OG13 layout to kind of have the Vamp, the MMS, Clutch obviously in the Vamp, Hawk kind of in the passenger seat but standing up, giving it the big one, and then all of the rest of them sort of to the left of that: Scarlet, Stalker, Snake Eyes, Short Fuse, Stealer, Breaker, Grunt, and is that it? I think that's it. Oh, Rock and Roll. So I've got all of those guys next to that. So my OG13 crew is looking pretty good. And of course, we're still waiting on Zap, and then after that, Flash and Grand Slam, hopefully, right? What we're saying, there's a video of the move spoken and explained by a Japanese woman, kind of cool. I've seen that, Blitz. Can I remember it? No. Wetsuit is fire, says Blitz. Yes, he is. Wetsuit's my... Well, I'm not going to say it out loud because that's going to ruin an episode. Hella Geek says, oh, wow, already at listings. I mean, we've been on for an hour and a quarter. Jason says, Chris, when did you say I get to harass you about how hard this is to read? I forgot, didn't I? I went ahead and I completely forgot. Actually, so you can do it now, Jason. You can tell me how hard it is to read now, because I said I was going to fix this for next episode and I didn't do it. I feel terrible now. PBJ says the Dan casting is horrible as well. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that. Carlos says, do you even Joe? No, not even a little bit. Did I get the Ore Striker yet? Yes, I did. And I wasn't a massive fan of it, to be perfectly honest. I think I've talked about this on the show already. So I got the Gridiron wheels and retro set, and now I'm besotted. Like, oh my God, the Ore Striker with that kit, with the wheels and the retro kind of roof and everything, and the kind of cannon, it's perfection now. Like, I feel like the proportions just weren't right with the wheel sizes. And yeah, so when I got those I got the what are they called now? Specifically the ones on Gridiron that are like the heavy, are they heavy duty? Some like they've got green on them. They're amazing though, and they're big, and I think they look so good on the Ore Striker. So yeah, I've got the Ore Striker and I love it, but I wasn't a massive fan of the Ore Striker proportions with those other wheels. Just wasn't doing it for me, honestly. It had a weird effect on my brain, to the point where I took the wheels off and had before the Gridiron kit got here, and had the display as them working on the Ore Striker as if it was on like not bricks, but if it's raised up and they were taking the wheels off it. So I had it displayed for the longest time it's in the motor pool with the wheels off and everything, which is funny. But yeah, when I got the kit on it, I was like, oh, it just transformed it. So I'm really happy with how it is now. But I will say, yes, I was not a massive fan of the Ore Striker, to be honest. I'm sorry. I just unboxed the whale. You guys are so behind, says Mad Thanos. That's hilarious. Bad Wolf says, if you have a drop ceiling anywhere, I found that the Rattler is amazing in the air and out of the way. Well, I will be doing that with the Air Eagle, the Tiger, Air Tiger. Tiger Eagle? I think it's the Air Tiger from Fans Hobby. Massive shout out to Jeremy Kimberlin, who hooked me up with that. That I will be hanging from the ceiling. It's amazing. And 100% I will be hanging the Rattler when I open that. I haven't opened that either. I will fix this, Jason. Don't worry. It's just going to take me a little bit longer. This week was a nightmare, so I never got to it. But do you know what? I'm going to make a point. You can literally throw swear words at me in the comments. I won't post them, obviously. But until that time. But I will promise you I will fix it. Hopefully by next episode. How long did it take Gridiron to ship that, has asked Archangel. So, funny story. I ordered one set of wheels, tires, because I completely didn't realize that they came in two, even though it says very clearly on their site, this is not a problem from their end, and this is me having a very ridiculously stupid comprehension problem and getting excited, finding the wheels I wanted, and just ordering two of them as opposed to like two sets, which would have been the four. So I ordered them and the retro kit, and it came in about, I want to say like 3 weeks, about a month, right? And maybe a little longer than a month. But they did say that it could take a serious amount of time to get to you. And I was like, totally cool, not in any rush. I displayed it for that period of time in like the motor pool with all the wheels off and everything. So it took about just over a month to get here. They all got here and everything, and I opened it all up and I'm like, oh. So I ordered another set, and they actually didn't take very long to turn up. You were talking about a couple of weeks for the rest of the wheels to get there. So yeah, it was maybe the retro kit was a little bit, maybe took a bit longer, but the wheels didn't take very long to ship at all, like a couple of weeks. So finally got them in, put them on the Ore Striker, and now it's, in its full force. So make sure when you go on the Gridiron site to order 2 sets of the wheels, because they sell them in 2s. And they do say that, again, that's me being an idiot, not anyone else is fault. Rudy says, I heard the order of the Crimson Moon has been pushed back to Q2 next year. I don't mind the wait for them to make it the best they can. I've waited this long for a Baron. A little longer isn't too bad. Yeah, I would say that too. Like, when these things happen, it sucks and you have to wait a little longer, but it's usually for the best. Genuinely, generally, it is usually for the best. So yeah, just bear that in mind for sure. I'm waiting for my Gridiron Ore Striker mod, says the real Zim. Jason says, I know, dude, just breaking your balls because you said I can. And you're totally within your rights to do so, because I said I'd fix it and I didn't. So my bad. Loco says, there is a real world explanation for the smaller wheels at the front, which made it more efficient. Totally, you're right, Loco Base Walker 1280 or 1280 or 1280. You're absolutely right. There is a real world reason for them having small wheels at the front, because of the way that Dune Buggy operates, in terms of like, is it like kind of like how it hugs like sticks to the ground sort of thing as well? Like there's a lot of like, there's a big definite reason for it, and like also like the way it's maneuverability, isn't it? That's what it is. It's for better maneuverability. So anyway, yes, there is. It just doesn't look good in my opinion. So I feel like they needed those extra kind of oomph on the proportions, because at the end of the day, it's how it looks to me, because it ain't going to be going on actual missions. I'm not going to be driving it. But you're totally right. There is a proper real world explanation for it, and it makes sense that they did it that way. I just don't think it was. I don't think it looked great with the small wheels at the front. Blitz says, I'm patiently waiting for the slim Type D wheels to come out, but for my Hound, yeah, I was on. You were on Kaiju Daddy this morning, checking out sometime. What for, Jedi? I don't know what that. I don't think I've ever heard of that site. Archangel says, not bad at all, worth it for perfection, definitely. Jamie Lynn says, does anyone have any idea when the Fans Hobby Arctic Eagle is shipping? Don't know, but then they're usually pretty good with that stuff. Blitz says, real world reason or wheel world weasel. Yes, and Realzim says the original Ore Striker was amazing. Probably one of my favorite G.I. Joe vehicles of all time. The original Ore Striker. It's just absolute perfection in its design and fun and features and all that good stuff. And crankcase is dope as well. Now, I will say the classified crankcase is phenomenal, and all the little extra details and accessories he comes with, brilliant. It's just, I had the problem with the wheels. That was it. And now it's fixed. And I don't have any more issues with it. So there you go. Oh, hello, honey. Annie's come to say hello. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Or have you just come to make sure I'm still alive because I've been on the episode for too long? Annie's here, guys. Do you want to come say hi? Do you want to come say hi? You can come over here, darling, if you want. Yeah, she wants to say hi to everybody. Come on, then. Come on. Sorry, it's the usual Annie show. There we go, my darling. There she is. She just wants to come and lick my face most of the time, don't you? I know. There we go. In the mouth and everything. Do you want to say hi to everyone? You want to say hi? Yeah, you've had a fun day today, haven't you? Yeah, you have. She was sleeping earlier for constantly. Coming to see if you're alive or if you've turned into a chew toy treat. Yeah, I've said the T word now. I'll have to get you a cookie, won't I? Or Mummy will. I know. Someone's going to have to get you a treat now that I've said it like 8 times. Oh, are you having fun? Good. Anyway, there's Annie. She's going to hang out probably until she gets bored of me, which won't be too long now. Right, so that's it for the listings. I will fix those, Jason. I'm so sorry. I know I've said it like a million times. I will try and get that sorted out for you. I'm so sorry. And to everyone that's having trouble looking at those listings, I think, Annie, you're having trouble looking at them as well, aren't you? Yeah, I'll get it fixed. Name only reveals officially are Iceberg, Deep Six, Taurus and Red Dog 2-pack, Ninja Force Zartan, Hydro Viper and Zanya. And of course, digital renders were just on the Cobra La Royal Guard at the moment. That's all we've got left at the moment, honey. I know. Can you believe it? We used to have loads of renders and now it's just Cobra La Royal Guard. And that's it. Mad Thanos says you're a lovely girl. And he's right. Are you ready to... Yeah, you don't want to be up here anymore, do you? Okay. I got one more kiss on my nose. Thank you, honey. Go on then, go see Mummy. She'll get you something fun. Go see Mummy. Or scratch your face on the carpet over there. Yes. I've already got my Fans Hobby Arctic Eagle. Picked it up from Shows, says Simon Goodall. Nice one. Jeremy says Arctic Air Eagle is in stock at Showsy store. Last time I ordered there took approximately 10 days or so. Thank you, Jeremy, for the extra bit of info. Archangel says, when does Chris and Annie 2-pack drop? Next week. I've ordered any Diagnostic 80 mixtapes for 2026, asks Andrew. Do you know what? I mean, I've made a lot of music and I continue to do so. I'm probably making music on a more than I ever have this year. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's happening a lot. Mostly for multiple other projects and other things, but I'm definitely in that sort of, like, I don't know, like a very, like I'm in like a very like I'm happy making music at the moment. So who knows? Maybe some new beats will appear in 2026 for the show. Maybe some new music. Maybe some, I don't know. Maybe some stuff with the wonderful Word Burglar in the future as well. Who knows? We'll have fingers crossed on that one. We'll have to wait though for any teasers. Anyway, right. I'm going to call it for the regular news segment. Quick message from our sponsor, and then we'll do some shout outs and then call it a day. So don't go anywhere. Yes, the deluxe treasury editions of Battle Action Force are available right now. And currently there is a 20% off holiday pricing on, where was it? TotalToyBooks.com if you're in the UK and Europe, Amazon everywhere, and Skeletron.com in the US. So lots of opportunities to get these beautiful books. And they have been basically mentioned, honorable mention in the IDA Design Awards of 2025. So well done to Brian and team, mainly Brian, but you know what I mean, and everyone else involved at Total Toy Books for these beautiful renditions of Battle Action Force. My goodness. If you want them, guys, now is a great opportunity to get them. They just had there was a 30% off. It was the Cyber Monday sort of Black Friday situation. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I should say, that way around. But now there is a holiday pricing, 20% off. Get it. Get them. They're amazing. If you love G.I. Joe comics, you're probably going to love Battle Action Force comics as well. I know I do, although it was the other way around for me. So I was, very happy to know that we had some G.I. Joe comics to read that I didn't really know existed when I was a kid. Chris G says, I really want them, but would have to rob a bank. Totally understand, Chris G. If you can't afford them, or if they're in a situation where it's probably not the best moment to do so, of course. But if you want them and you can get them, my advice is get on board because they're absolutely stunning. Anyway, Andrew says, love that guest feature on A Toy Kind of Mood. Yes, I'll be talking about that in a second. So anyway, also massive shout out to Articulated Points, Pat and Phil. Go check out their channel, link in the description. It's great. I love, if you want to know about the history of toy lines, little quirky anecdotes here and there and little points, little articulated points, then you can check them out on their YouTube channel, link in the description. And also massive shout out to Pat, who will be appearing, yay, on the holiday special and the New Year's Day special as well. Anyway, there you go. Also, shout out to codenameiowa.com, where you can get amazing, awesome shirts and cool stuff on their site. And there might be a few Full Force tees left on the old Full Force tab. So if you're interested and you didn't get in on it, the pre-orders earlier, go check out codenameiowa.com, the Full Force in the store, the Full Force tab, and you'll get to see these awesome tees. We have them in blue, green, and red with the single logo color. Again, very, very high quality, very soft, lovely fit, really good quality on the logo, a little raised screen print, gorgeous. And then we also have the full color logo on white, gray, and black. If you're interested, go check them out. Depends, obviously we don't have every option available at the moment, but there might still be a few on there that you can get hold of. So go check it out. And if your size is on there and you want to get one, go nuts. Also, massive shout out to Skeletron.com, who have, as of yesterday, the RoboSkull Mark II is back online and back in stock. It did temporarily go out of stock for a short period of time, and now it is back in stock on Skeletron.com. So if you want a RoboSkull Mark II, go get one. They're bloody amazing. My one is right there. My special edition actually is right there. And our regular one, I believe, is upstairs in the living room. I say one, we've got about 4 of the bad boys. Anyway, get in the toy of the year 2024 from Full Force anyway. And of course, they've just started bringing in their 6-inch figures, which are amazing. And of course, massive shout out to Travis of A Toy Kind of Mood. Thank you so much for having me on your most anticipated G.I. Joe 2026 episode, mate. It was so much fun. Had a blast as always. Yeah, really enjoyed it. You can hear me and Travis talk about what we're expected, or what we're excited about, what we're expecting in 2026. It sounds like we're having a child together, doesn't it? Travis and I are expecting in 2026. In any case, thank you very much for having me on, bud, and go check it out on the Toy Kind of Mood YouTube channel, please, and thank you. If you want a little bit of lols and you just want to hear me talk garbage for like over an hour, it was a while, so you'll enjoy it. Right then, that's Hella Geek says this was fantastic. 2 of the best Joe bros joining forces. Oh, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you. Chris G says I will get them eventually somehow, and in order say you can thank the Full Force. Thank you very much, Chris G. But again, do not feel pressure to get the deluxe treasury editions just because I keep talking about it every week. You do you know, it's all good. Trust me. No pressure is what I'm saying. Right then. Oh, yes, this was amazing. Massive shout out to Paul Panfalone, Plastic Battles, not only for this gorgeous shot of Budo, kind of, but also the behind the scenes video. Go check this out on Instagram. If you're not following Plastic Battles on Instagram, what are you doing? Go follow Paul Plastic Battles Panfalone on Instagram and check out this amazing, like, behind the scenes video making of this Budo kind of shot. And it takes you all through like the equipment he uses, the Photoshop techniques he applies, all of that. Like, it's so good. Like, I can't describe it any more than that. It is amazing. Paul is very talented, and I wish I had a 10th of his talent in regards to what he does in anything. So go check it out, because again, beautiful shot, but like what he does for this shot is just nuts. So yeah, like I said, go check out Plastic Battles on Instagram and all the other, you know, socials that he's on as well, of course, but Instagram's the main one. And just please give this post some love, because it is next level quality. And that's just the final shot. Like, the actual video is phenomenal. So there you go. There you go then. Bad Wolf Media says, I'm sitting here enjoying a bunch of fresh new snow in the yard, Informer, and I keep thinking of cool photos to do with the snowcat. Then I remember I won't have it for another year-ish. Yes, but hopefully it'll snow next year as well, Bad Wolf. But yeah, I am very, I'm ready to have the snowcat and the Arctic Hiss with me. You know what I mean? There you go. Subozor said, Artist Shark brought me here, cheese bags. Oh, shout out to Artist Shark as well. Yeah. So much stuff went on back then that like had him like kicked off YouTube and all that kind of stuff. That was so sucky. And I'm kind of glad that he's kind of back doing his stuff again. So yeah, shout out to Artist Shark for sure. Too cold here to even think about taking a snowcat outside, says PBJ Street Gang. Yeah, it's actually bloody cold here as well, actually. Agreed on that one. Anyway, that's Paul Pamphilone, Plastic Battles. Go love his Instagram page, please, because this is phenomenal. Right, that's me. Another weekly. How did we do an hour and 36 minutes? Did I just talk about Street Fighter for like way too long? I think that's what happened, wasn't it? Anyway, it's G.I. Joe. It's the same thing. Come on. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me on this very interesting 250th episode, by the way. I thought I should have made it the Street Fighter episode and done like the graphics. Hindsight 2020, right? It is. But in any case, thank you for joining me, guys. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you guys today, and I will see you on the next one. I've got what are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow, obviously, is Patreon day. So if you're in the Red Shadow Army or the SAS force, then I will see you guys, the Full Force SAS. I will see you guys tomorrow. And other than that, if there's any news in the week, I'll try and be on it. And then it'll just be all the specials, I guess, right? What is it? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It'll be like the 20th next week. Oh my God. Will I even be? I might have to. There might be some rescheduling going on with the weekly. It might be on Sunday, but we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know. But anyway, have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you when I see you next, guys. Stay fresh, cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force! Happy 250th! Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.